This man. Damn, look at it. Look what he's doing. This is assault. It's assault. This is assault. Yeah.
My name's Steve fucking Kelly.
I don't think so. This is illegal.
Eagle Nick had his rights violated.
Hey! Hey! Guys, assault. You got it.
Oh, maniacs, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel for this very special video. It's so good to see all you guys here. But today we're going to have a look at a fellow friend of the channel, the Siberian Tiger, aka the Siberian Pussycat, being arrested because he was held in contempt of court. Now, we're not going to see the actual footage of this. I'm hoping this comes out later, even though it's revealed later in this video. It might not. But we're going to listen to Siberian Tiger's wife give her own narration of the events that took place. This honestly is a perfect example of the damage that frauditors do. Because yes, they can be delusional in their nonsense and their nonsensical delusions, but it rubs off on their family, who potentially could be law-abiding citizens. It's sad. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hi you guys, my name is Victoria. Many of you don't know, but I'm a spouse of Leonard, the Siberian Tiger. He runs the YouTube channel. So this morning, we were in 9 a.m. court for a traffic citation. I took him there. We went out together because we had a gut feeling there was something brewing. Anyway, while we were in court, the bottom line is my husband got arrested in the contempt of court for 48 hours.
Not to butt in so soon, but can we just applaud and celebrate the fact that that vile human being is in jail, even though it's not a vicious arrest or something we can see. We know that for 48 hours, he can't harass innocent civilians. That's such a beautiful thing.
Usually, I do not. My ethics, my morals are usually super high. It requires by my profession. And I am really usually committed, you know, to listen to the person, to see the point of view, to basically being open-minded as possible I can. I always been that way. I'm the grounded person for our marriage and for our family. I usually, you know, the one that's keeps the things, you know, grounded in our family, run the background, and I usually, you know, I've been married to my husband for a while, so I know he can be hard-tempered.
Well, if you were married to your husband as long as you say that you are, you know your husband as well as you know him. He's not simply someone that is hard-tempered. He is a bully. A bully that goes out of his way to intentionally attack law enforcement officer, government employees, whom he knows have no control over him, who he knows can't respond appropriately. In fact, for the heck of it, let's show a clip of him admitting this is the case, just so we have a full context as to who we're dealing with here.
Just to let you know, this is a court number. This is not police report number.
Write down the address of where this took place. Write down the address of where this took place. And you can reference that with the address and the incident number. You have all of that information on file. Ma'am, you don't need to give me the stare.
No,
I'm telling you how you need to do your job. You work for me. You need to respect me. I don't need to respect you. I don't have to be nice to you, okay? And don't even expect me to be nice to you or to respect you in any kind of way. You understand?
Get somebody to help you.
Hurry up, because I'm actually on the clock. I'm working. I'm a busy man, a family man. So quickly, go get somebody. Run.
I'm gonna have somebody to help you, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Good for you. Sir, you the supervisor?
I can help you.
Quickly.
Slow the attitude down.
I'm not gonna slow anything. You don't tell me what to do, sir. This is my freedom of speech. You don't like it? Get to work.
Yeah, anytime I watch him berate and bully employees, it makes my blood boil. So please, lady, do not try and paint your husband as an innocent victim or as someone who simply is hard-tempered. He is a bully that bullies and harasses employees just to fill his own ego based on his own insignificant insecurities. Let's make that very clear.
But I also like his honesty. He's blunt. And I think I'm more blunt and more honest than he is. And I think that's what makes us a great team, you know, for us. But anyway, so today at 9 a.m. we were in court for traffic citation. Long story short, I should say it. The traffic citation, the whole process in the court, the judge, I believe the judge's name is... I know Larry Jr. last name, but I don't know. It's in Clackamas Court, Municipal Court. He's the only judge there. And he's got a lawsuit open against this judge in the court.
So you just admitted that your husband likes filing vexatious lawsuits against judges that hurt his feelings. Right. Carry on.
So for a different matter, and before we walked in with the traffic citation, my husband said, hey, Judge, just FYI, we have a conflict of interest. You know, is there a way you want to recuse yourself so we can move on? The judge said, nope, I don't care.
Yeah, and just to clarify for all of you, in a situation like this, judges hate that because the judge is the one that wants to dictate whether or not he has the right to recuse himself if there is such a big of a conflict. If he's just being sued on a piece of paper when he's suing 30 or 40 different people, like he probably is, the judge is probably saying, you're insignificant, you're irrelevant, this is such an irrelevant thing not to worry about. But for a plaintiff or defendant, whatever the case might be, to come into court, and in this case defendant because it's a traffic court, to come into court and say, Judge, recuse yourself, yeah, that will annoy any judge, which probably led to him being held in contempt along with his antics, which we'll talk about shortly.
Like, let's move on. Okay. The whole process, anytime, so on the stand was the deputy that he was, that pulled him over, and that his pullover, I think there is a video, in his, channel where basically he was hunted for.
No, you're lying. God damn it. You're lying. No, you are. You are lying. You're a big liar. You are a liar, Earl. You are a liar. You are.
Deputy pulled him over and hunt him for because he knows he just left the courtroom for another the video they posted. I know it's there, and he hunted him and pulled him away. And my husband was just trying to say, "Hold on a second. What was the reason for pullover? You just know who I am. You're going after me." Anyway, so that was the traffic citation for. In the whole process, well, my husband was trying to ask the deputy questions. The judge constantly protected the deputy. He constantly clarified anything that deputy said. Anytime my husband said, hold on a second, I'm asking the person, the deputy, just says, no, that's not how it works. Like, you know, I don't care. Like, move on.
Well, I can tell you all that this is a pack of lies in the fact that the judge is quote unquote protecting the deputy. We've seen, and that's the whole, that's the damning evidence here. We've seen how the Siberian kitty cat is in court. Someone will be on the stand. He will ask a ridiculous question. The person will answer, and the Siberian tiger will twist the answer. And in his last court proceeding that went viral, we saw the judge have to do the same thing to clarify what the question was and what the answer was. This is not a conspiracy. The Siberian tiger is a master manipulator, or at least tries to be. But it doesn't work in court because the bench has the inherent right to do that, to clarify or to explain things or to set the record straight. If Siberian tiger is asking questions that make no sense, the person on the stand answers, and then he twists the answers, the judge has the right to set the record straight. It's not standing up or defending the deputy or whoever's on the stand. It's trying to keep the record straight and be accurate. Because as we know, again, Siberian tiger is nothing more than a master manipulator trying to twist things to fit his sick narrative.
And he's like, another question. 5 minutes before I even go in, 5 minutes into the court, the judge said, hey, just FYI, if anything happens, or I know you're, you know, from previous interactions, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court.
Well, lady, if you've seen any of your husband's court performances, you'll understand why the judge said, hey, make sure you're not towing the line, or else you'll be held in contempt, rather. Because there are so many times he's gone crazy in court when he should have been held in contempt. And finally, a judge is putting their foot down and doing so. The problem is, and that's the problem with the judicial system, people say it's corrupt at times. I think it's the other end. People should be held accountable even greater for abusing the court's authority or abusing court proceedings, so that when it does happen, oh, that's a corrupt judge. No. It's a judge holding someone in contempt that, quite frankly, does not know how to act. And that's what happened here. So good for this judge.
They were all deputies that he's suing in the previous, all were present. So this was so staged and so set up that you cannot deny it. I think judge just digged a bigger hole for himself, because he should have recused and should have moved on. But the fact that the judge constantly, throw it that he's going to hold contempt of court, because my husband called him out and he said, hey, judge, at this point, it looks like you're being a lawyer for the county instead of being a judge. Would you mind let us, you know, ask the question, I ask the question, do my due process, what is legally my right?
Again, I'll refer back to my earlier statement because, again, as has been noted previously, we've seen this idiot's performance in court. He twists questions, he twists answers. So there needs to be control there. And he's saying that it's his right to due process. Correct. But when you're representing yourself pro se, you are held to the same standard of ethics as an actual attorney. Yes, you're given some latitude, but someone like him that abuses the judicial system, the judges all know, no, we're not going to let that play. So even if he does have a right to due process, he still needs to be held to certain standards and ask questions and respond to answers that are applicable with the appropriate rules of civil procedure, which we know he doesn't do, which is why the judge in this case probably put his foot down and was very strict with him. But because it didn't go his way, his wife is here claiming he was set up. Give me a break.
Ask the question and do things like that, and then you can decide what's the outcome. He wasn't having it. He wasn't having it. He was like, if you're going to continue, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. If you're going to continue, I'm going to hold you in contempt of court. Like, my husband couldn't ask basically any question. He finally said, okay, he started to raise his hand. Oh, before that, before anything, the beginning, my husband requested for a video to be recorded at the courthouse because they don't have recordings. Only, I think, body cameras they have, but they, for some reason, they don't do court recordings, which is, they do have cameras, but they don't record.
There's cameras, but they don't record. You mean there's cameras in the office, but they're not distributed to the general public. There's a huge difference with that. But I hope that actually this statement is wrong, because I would love to see the court cam of this idiot being arrested after disrespecting the judge.
And I think I know why, because they don't want to show what's going on in their courtroom. He asked for the permission to grant the permission to record. The judge said no video, but you can do an audio. So my husband couldn't figure it out because judge was like, you know, you don't have time for this. We need to move on. Like, do it. My husband's like, okay, fine. You know, just, he was doing things. So in the process, there was evidence, and he was asking the deputy, hey, you know, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And deputy said, I'm not answering that question. I'm not answering that question. And my husband said, well, hold on, judge, can he answer that question? No, he doesn't have to. Like, he doesn't have to. Like, as I said, I'm usually a ground person, but law is a law. It's written from both sides.
You know what? I have a very simple question for you, lady. Name it. Name the law. You're saying that you're usually level-headed, but you're so angry because the judge wasn't following the law. What law indicates that if someone is on the stand, they have to answer a certain question. We talked about it earlier. If the question is improper, the judge has the right to say he doesn't have to answer that. If the question potentially is incriminating, there's a little pesky something called the Fifth Amendment, where a person has the right to remain silent to avoid self-incrimination, which, by the way, frauditors, like your husband, have falsely quoted, saying that they simply don't, because of the Fifth Amendment, they can go into private buildings and not say who they are. Like, get that out of here. That's nonsense. But again, lady, what's the law? You're making this video as if you are someone that is knowledgeable of the law so that you can speak to the judge's actions as being unlawful. Tell us what those actions are specifically instead of talking out of your rear.
So how are we supposed to have any, protection from laws if the judge is absolutely not obeying the law? Like, we're supposed to look up to judges and say, hey, we got the fair trial, both on the stand. This is what, the process is. We go through the process and the judge make a decision on the evidence. But when the judge already made his decision before we even walked in the courtroom was set up. As I said, all the deputies that he saw was over there. He had other extra 2 people witnesses just to see what's happening. They had the court staff there while all observing.
Now it's time for the next lesson, huh? I call it How to Stop Being Stupid.
Is this lady that stupid? I'm sorry, I hate to use that word, but I have to ask. She's saying that there's proof of a conspiracy because the judge had the court staff present in the courtroom. Obviously, if there's a court proceeding, court staff is going to be there. How does this prove your argument that there's a conspiracy? And, well, you're saying that all the officers he's suing were present? Well, yeah, because he's suing everybody. I know that he's one of those people that enjoy engaging in vexatious litigation, like our favorite vexatious litigator here on YouTube. But that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove there's a conspiracy. In your mind, you're saying it's a conspiracy if your husband sues 1,000 people. If one of those 1,000 people show up to his court hearings in the general public, that's a conspiracy. You're that ignorant as the people that you and your husband try and expose. And that's pathetic.
Like, at first, there were FA for me to get in, which is this open courtroom house. I can be there. It was so staged that even I didn't felt like I knew the law that well. Clearly can see that they were just there to go after him. So I did hire all lawyers. I did, do everything. I don't know exactly a lot about the legal process. My husband does all of our legal stuff, but I am livid. And as I said, I'm usually the one that's grounded. I'm usually the one that I gave a reasonable, reasons to say, hey, maybe they had no choice. Maybe this is his job. Maybe that's what he has to do. But there are some courts where that's fine. We've been through quite a few, and some judges are, honest, and then they follow the law and says, yes, I get it. And, the both sides, sometimes my husband, sometimes the other side gets slapped on the wrist, and we get it. That's the law. But when you're so biased and you know it and you're not afraid, that's what's scary. That is super scary. How can you, a presenting judge, be sitting on the bench? And I understand you have to work with police officer and protect him, but he has to answer the questions if somebody's asking him. You make a decision when you look at both evidence, but you don't make a decision before any evidence got played out. Like, what, and I understand that they did on purpose. They put the deputy first so they can, route my husband. And of course he lost his cool and everything, but he tried so hard. And he said, Judge, what are the rules? What do you want me to do? How do you want me? Do you want me to raise my hand when you're ready? So I don't feel like, you don't feel like I interrupt you. Do you want me to do this? And the judge was like, yeah, that's what you want to do. Okay. So he did it and he still didn't like it. So as I said, it was so set up.
Again, lady, we're going to keep saying the same thing. It wasn't set up if your husband does not know how to act in court. We've seen it. Judges have let him go when he should have been held in contempt months ago. Now, he's finally being held accountable, which is what you and your husband go out and preach about law enforcement and government officials.
I am livid. So anyway, we're going to wait it out 48 hours. I guess that's the process. And, you know, my husband will record his opinion of what it is, but I am beyond of the corruption on a higher level that these courts have. It's just, I knew, but like how you're not afraid that you have to answer for the things that you do. Like, how do people sleep at night? Like, how's your conscience work? Like, don't you, like, I understand that I have a tough job and I get it. And, you know, but moral ethics, where are those? You're serving the public. You know, they entrusted you with, like, you know, pretty much being there and be for them and for all the people, but you just decided to make a choice of, you know, picking the corrupt side. I guess he can sleep at night. I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I'll be honest. I'm flabbergasted. Anyway, I'm probably ramping.
Yes, lady, you are ranting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the video that he releases in a couple of days where he gives his opinion as to what's taken place. It's so satisfying seeing this guy be arrested. Again, he's one of the most vile frauditors out there, and he deserves the absolute worst. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and hey, see you next time.